Last Saturday, I met with head football coach Kevin Sumlin in my office and notified him that we had determined we needed to go in a different direction with our football program. Later that afternoon, I talked directly to our assistant coaches and extended football staff. I then met with our team as well. Both of those groups inside the Cole and Jeannie Davis Sports Center, practicing the social distancing, but I thought it was very important that we met face to face. These are challenging times, and it certainly impacts lots of people in our program. When I met with the coaching staff and the team, I reinforced that this decision was to terminate Coach Sumlin was not based on what happened last Friday night or at that time last night. Obviously, that was a very difficult situation. It's not where we wanted to be, but it was really a holistic view of our program and the future direction of it. As you're aware, the financial buyout of the contract is significant, and the conversations have begun between both parties regarding where that will land and what the ultimate outcomes will be. The buyout will be rolled into this year's overall financial position in this fiscal year, and I'll provide updates when we have those in the future about the specifics and really where that lands following those conversations with the parties involved in the separation. We've made some really difficult decisions this year regarding our department, furloughing individuals, compensation reductions, laying off 21 employees. Those are incredibly difficult. In addition, we've made substantial spending cuts, reduced operational budgets, frozen a number of positions that were open during that time, really, again, to try to address our deficit position this fiscal year. While we've made these difficult decisions, we've always stayed focused on our student athlete experience. We have always prioritized that, and we continue, even in these times, to give our student athletes an outstanding experience and all the resources they need to compete at a high level, but also to be a student here at the University of Arizona, receiving a world-class education and the resources around that are required around that to become a person, and live that Wildcat way as they leave here. As I've noticed in previous statements, I'm expecting our overall deficit position to be in excess of $45 million for this fiscal year. We continue to evaluate and work toward different options. We evaluate and work towards some bridge funding, some financing that will support our financial position, not only this fiscal year, but into the future. Our decision to incur additional expense with this buyout wasn't easy, but it was made with the need to emerge out of this financial challenging year with a strong recovery plan, a strong purpose that ensures future financial success of Arizona athletics. The financial plan that we have includes the need for our fans, our ticket buyers, our stakeholders, our donors, our community to have a belief and a faith in our football program and the future direction of our football program. It's critical to the future of our athletic department. Some might ask, why would we do that? Why would we make the decision to change now? Why would we face ourselves with that contractually obligated buyout? I'd say, quite frankly, we could not afford not to do that. We had to move forward. The importance of, as I said, of our financial recovery, the importance that it is to our football program is to our stakeholders. Quite frankly, a failure to act would have resulted in significant compounding of our financial outlook, of our financial, and have real serious financial consequences going forward for this athletic program, and then ultimately for our student athletes and our ability to address their needs and their programs here at U of A. A couple things on the search process. Last Sunday we began the national search for a new head football coach. a real disciplined process where we built a strong profile. You've heard me at times mention those things. We can talk about it more here, but what will be required for our next head football coach? First, we need someone who's committed to the mission and the purpose of the University of Arizona and of Arizona Athletics, our department. We need someone who is committed to an athlete's total success, our CATS program. That's the fundamental purpose of our program, rooted in the history of this program, initiated by Cedric Dempsey, the great athletic director here, that really ensures that we have one of the greatest student athlete experiences here. Really is our bones. And we'll talk about bones, the U of A bones, as we continue this conversation. But that's what we're built on, those bones of a full success program for our student athletes. We need someone who embodies the incredible bear down spirit. That is what this program is all about. We need someone with great integrity, great character, someone who cares deeply about their players, someone who is passionate about this job, about this university, about this athletic program, about this community, about this state, that they look at this as an incredible opportunity. We need a program builder, someone who can attract great assistant coaches around them to help our young men, help our football program move forward. We need someone who really can bring together and build on the bones of U of A football. And that is, the history, the great tradition and history of our program, the real fundamental principles that build Arizona football, that have built it in the past. And we can find that person as we go forward. Again, a program builder, great integrity, a leader, a true leader of our football program. These are complex jobs. It is a complex enterprise in the college football world. But sometimes we make it too complex. This is about a leader of men, a leader of a football program committed to using football to build better young people, to utilizing the game of football to produce great leaders in the future. That's what's important, those fundamental principles of doing it the right way, believing in the players, helping them grow, and building a great culture here for our football program. So with that, I think I'll pause, and we can do some questions, comments. I would note a couple things. As we did this, talked to a lot of people within our department, stakeholders in our community, stakeholders of our program, our current student athletes I've talked to, both during the meeting we had shortly after the decision to go in a different direction, as well as talking to our captains and our leadership group by Zoom, talked to our alumni football players, very passionate about this program. We had a great conversation. Again, there was alignment in where we were headed and what we want to do and how we want to build this program going forward. So with that, I'll pause, taking cues. Matt, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Dave. We'll start with the questions here. Jason Barr, K-Gun 9.
Good morning, Dave. Thanks for taking the time. Everybody makes mistakes, and you're not the only person who thought that Kevin Sumlin would win games here. But what would you say you learned from that process that you'll apply to this one going forward?
I think that, again, we're really focused on trying to find the right person and the right fit for this program. I think many times you can become focused on certain aspects of skill sets and may lose focus on the overall totality of what you need. And trying to step back, trying to really evaluate where our program is today. And where our program is today, I firmly believe we need a strong leader who can assemble a group, a staff that can help a head coach be very successful here. Assistant coaches have so much contact with our student athletes, with our players on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, they need to be great recruiters, but they need to be great teachers, coaches, mentors. So it's, again, I'm looking for someone that has that concept of building an overall program. someone who has some skill sets, but complements it across the board with a really good staff of people, so we can stay focused on what we need right now. And I just believe it's strong leadership, the ability to build a program so we can have sustained success going forward.
All righty, next question will be Justin Spears, Arizona Daily Star.
Dave, several former players have shared on social media that they had a chance to talk to you about the coaching search. What was that conversation like with them? What did you take away from them?
Well, so I've talked to numerous former players of ours individually. I know it's been documented that we had a Zoom call with, nearly 100 players yesterday. So again, would say very much in contact with our former players. Sometimes, really difficult times where we see ourselves right now bring people together. And we have a passionate group, and our conversations about what is Arizona football, what has it been built on, what are the important characteristics. I've talked to people from the from the 60s all the way up to the last few years, and as I mentioned, our current players, getting a perspective of what they felt while they were here, what they've seen through the years, and where they think we are today. And so it's been a good exchange of information. I value their input. They've heard from me very clearly about what I think we need. And I've heard from them what I think, and I think there's alignment, someone who will embrace what has made Arizona football great. That's passion, that's toughness. That is, believing in our history and our tradition and our past, some of the great people who have been here before. It's a little bit different of a place. You have to really believe in it here. And our players have shared that with me, and I agree with that. So it's been great conversations, Justin, and those will continue. I value their opinions and what they have to say. And I think it's opened a really good communication. We've had open communication channels, but a real desire by our football players to be supportive of our program going forward, how they can help, what are the areas that they can be involved in, help, engaged, at all levels. And that is strength in numbers, strength in support that will help this program going forward.
And the current players, what was their involvement in the last coaching search, and will you take a similar approach in this coaching search?
Yeah, look, I value, this is, as I said, with both groups, our current players and our alums. This is our players program. This is our alumni letter winners, football letter winners program. It's their program. They built it. They're invested in it. Our job is to help bring people around that can allow them to excel, that our alums can be proud of, that we cherish the history, we celebrate it, we honor it, we continue it, so it helps our program be strong through the years. I value the opinions of our student athletes, as I've done before, in all coaching searches, in all major decisions that impact our student athletes. It's their program. I have to be able to have those conversations with them and understand where they are. So in the past, again, I met with our leadership groups in past searches across the board. And as I said, I've met with our student athletes in the football program and asked them for their opinions, what they thought the characteristics, the interest. I think it's important for them to know what's going on, and also for me to hear from them. So I value that. Again, let's be clear. I listen and talk, and we talk to a lot of different people. Those are all metrics. Those are all pieces that we put into the big bucket to then analyze, to compare and contrast, to begin to look at, and then compare and contrast with skill sets, with plans that are put in front of us. So there is no one, certain piece that you just say that has to work. You try to build all of it, and everyone's opinions, everyone's input is important, and that helps you get to the point where you can hopefully find the right person that can pull it all together.
And lastly, have you spoken to any candidates about the job?
We've had ongoing conversations with numerous individuals that have interest, that we have interest in. That's been going since Sunday. Let me be clear, contrary to inappropriate reports throughout different channels of the media, we've not offered a job to anyone. We've had no final discussions with anyone.
Next will be David Kelly, KVOA. David?
Hey, Dave, then just to kind of follow on what you just said, what timeline are you looking at? I mean, in terms of when you would like to get this done? Is this something you would like to get done before Christmas? Does it matter if it flows into the beginning of the year?
Well, hey, you're going to hear the standard term, but I believe, and I mean it, and I'm very genuine about it. Look, we're going to move as quickly, as swiftly as we can, but as thoroughly. We've got to be thorough and diligent, and those two things can work together. They might string, they might slow things down, but we need to make sure that we're moving quickly. That's important, so that we can get someone on the ground and begin to turn this football program, that we can provide and show a direction to our current players. But at the same time, we need to do it the right way. We need to, work through a process that is quick, but thorough. So, we'll do that in that order. I'm not going to put a stake in the ground and start to circle around different dates. We're going to move as quickly and as thoroughly as we can.
And I know you just said you want to make this a players program, for lack of a better term, but Kevin came in and said he wanted to do that. That didn't happen. Are there things you can do as an athletic director to force that engagement from your head coach? Because there are a lot of players out there, former players, who feel like the last two coaches were not engaged with the alumni base. Are there things you can do as an athletic director to force that? Like, telling the coach you've got to go to a certain number of events per year involving alumni.
Well, let me go back and, as I started to outline some of those really key characteristics or key principles that I think are important. One of, quite frankly, the most important to me is a person that will embrace the community, will embrace this fan base, will be open, accessible, that understands that our fans, that this community, our alums, they want to know their head football coach. They want to be able to kind of grab onto their coattails. They want to know that they've shook the hand of the leader of Wildcat football. That's important to our people. And so we have to embrace that. We have to be open, inclusive from that perspective. And that includes our alums. Again, this is their program, our players' program. They played here. They received their education here. For most of them, the greatest 4 or 5 years of their lives as they became adults were here on this campus. They're very passionate about it. Our football coach must embrace that. And I think there's great power in that passion, great power in that inclusiveness that separates this place from others. So let's grasp that and capitalize on that. Embrace it, because it'll make us better going forward. So it's important for me to be very inclusive and open, from all angles, media, stakeholders, community members. That's everything. That's from elite donors throughout our entire fan base to this community. As I like to say, we need to walk in the front door. We need to engage at a speaking engagement, the Rotary Club, whatever it is, and stick around for a little while afterwards and shake a few hands and engage with our people, look them in the eye, and then walk out the front door with them. That's what a head football coach here in Tucson and for the University of Arizona needs to do. They need to have that type of mentality, that type of passion.
Next question will be Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey there, Dave. I've got 3 for you. Number 1, given everything that you've said so far, does the new coach need to have any direct or tangential ties to the University of Arizona or past coaches at the University of Arizona, such as Coach Tomey?
I think it's critical that a person understand our values, that they understand our history, they understand our tradition. I believe there are people that can develop a plan, incorporate an assistant coaches group, have a philosophy that is similar to those that have been here before that have seen success. So that, I believe that's important. And so yes, there needs to be some recognition of the power that exists here and tapping into that power of our past. That will be important going forward.
Okay, question number 2. To what extent is President Robbins involved in this process, and is it any different than it was the last time?
Dr. Robbins and I talk on a regular basis, numerous times, usually a day. So we are in lockstep and working together on this process, as we do with many of our significant issues and searches in the athletic department.
Okay, and then finally, are you concerned, or how concerned are you about the current state of the roster? There a lot of guys have put themselves in the transfer portal, opted out, etc. That's been going on for almost a year now. Where's your level of concern as far as personnel heading into next season and future seasons?
Well, again, I want young men that feel good about this program and want to be part of this program. A first step to that is, finding the next head coach and staff so that we can engage with those young men and talk about their futures. This is a different day and age. There's so much movement in college football, and we tend to get a little bit stuck in our own bubble here. Certainly, we do not want young men leaving. I think this is a good spot for them. At the same time, this is kind of the way of the world right now in college athletics. But we'll move again. Moving quickly and swiftly is important, but we want to move the right way so that we can again embrace those people and those young men to come in here. It was a very unique year with being the COVID year, the opt-outs, all of the different things that are going on. It's going to take some time to come back and embrace those young men, and I believe they'll see the new leader, they'll see the direction of the program, and feel the passion, and it's got to be right for everyone.
Thank you.
Next will be Greg Hansen, Arizona Daily Star.
Dave, are you going to use a search firm this time?
Yeah, Greg, we do have a search firm that we've that we're working with, and they'll help guide us through some of the processes. A search firm, again, let me be clear. The search firm does not select the new head football coach. The search firm does not, force people to be involved in the process. This is a complex process, and one that requires a lot of sensitivity. There's a value to confidentiality that is important, that can be accomplished with search firms. But the next head football coach is hired by us, not by a search firm. And sometimes I think that gets twisted in the wrong direction. Search firm is part of the process. They are not the process, nor do they dictate it.
What assistant coaches still have a year remaining on their contract?
I believe it's our 2 coordinators.
Thanks, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Chorus Nylander, KVOA, you are next.
Sir, my question for you is twofold. You mentioned the $45 million deficit. Could you walk me through your decision? What made you feel now was the right time? Of course, in the middle of a pandemic, which clearly has had an impact on sports. I imagine it's had some impact on your revenue. And who's really going to be paying for the cost of this buyout? What pool of money is it coming from? And is it something that's going to trickle down to the students and increase costs?
Again, let's be clear. The expenditures of the athletic department, our budget is completely supported through the revenues of the athletics department. There aren't university funds that pay for our expenses in the athletic department. So that deficit position will be managed through the athletic department. As I said earlier, people might ask why. I just do not believe that in any way we could not afford to not do this. And if by not doing this, there are going to be further ramifications going forward if we cannot get our football program headed in a direction where all of those who are passionate about our program believe in it and support it. It is a significant revenue stream for our program going forward. And by not acting, I believe would have serious consequences and compound our problems.
And between the cost of the buyout itself and the search for a new coach, what do you expect the total price tag is going to be?
Again, I don't have those numbers right in front of me, so I'd hesitate to guess.
That's a question.
It's all been, again, I think it's been well stated. The current buyout provision and the amount of that, and those other, we have planned for those other costs in transition. Transition has costs. There are some mitigation clauses within contracts, but it's hard to say right now where that will all land at this point. And again, depending on how the search goes, will depend on some of those other costs that are incurred.
Next question, Austin Walker, KVOA. Austin, you're next.
Thank you so much for having us on today. My big question is, throughout the pandemic, I know you said University of Arizona already for athletics laid off, 20 furloughed 20 employees around that. So what is the connection between those people who are, out of a job and the $7 million you're paying somebody now?
Well, there's no question that's a very difficult. It is a very challenging financial time. As I say, it's a very hard decision to make, but in my opinion, and those who have, we've worked with and consulted, it's important for our football program to be successful, for the overall long-term success of the athletic program. We've done a number of things to reduce spending. Again, the furloughs and layoffs are part of that. It is part of our entire financial plan. It's a very difficult time, but we cannot sit back and not be ready to emerge out of this in the coming years to be successful. Not taking action will stall that and could ultimately doom the future of the program.
And then just to follow up with that, one more thing. I know with the $7 million buyout with that, I know athletics, you said, is supported by ticket sales, boosters, events. And obviously with the pandemic, we haven't had as many ticket sales. We haven't had as many events because of the state we're in right now. So is that buyout coming from any student fees? And if not, where is it coming from, that money?
Number one, no, the buyout comes from no student fees and no university generated dollars. Again, it will be completely absorbed by the athletic budget and the revenues that we generate. It'll be in our financial, and in this fiscal year, we'll do that. So there has been savings through the fact that we don't have events. So that's all part of that. While at the same time, yes, we've had great losses because we don't have ticket sales. Some of our donations have been impacted, but that's all part of the financial plan going forward, and one that we feel very confident in.
Our next question will be Troy Hutchison, All Sports Tucson. Troy.
So Dave, you mentioned the community aspect for the next head coach. How important is it not only to reach out to the community, but local high school programs here as well? Well,
for sure. There's so many aspects. I think as we drill this down and you have different questions like that, it is a lot of things that a new head football coach and the team around him have to do. And recruiting is incredibly important. And connections with high school coaches is incredibly important. We need to start right here in the state of Arizona. And we need to rebuild relationships. We need to continue relationships that are there. But we need to be strong in the state of Oregon. And so we need a head coach with that mentality that we will start right here in our backyard and have great relationships. I'm passionate about high school football coaches and their role in the overall grand scheme of recruiting. And that's all levels. My best friends in the world are high school football coaches. My brother is a high school football coach. I know how important it is for that connection to the state institutions, to the head coaches and the coaching staffs of those state institutions are. And that will be a priority as we continue to go forward.
And then you mentioned former athletic director Dempsey and laying the foundation for Arizona athletics. How have you communicated with him during this coaching search? What wisdom have you got from him?
Yeah, said Dempsey's an incredible, iconic figure. I consider, said a close professional friend, a mentor, and someone I count on. And I've talked to him regarding this situation and how to go forward. And he's been a great counsel and a great guide. He has a special touch for identifying people, and I value that greatly. So I lean on him heavily for counsel and guidance.
Alec White, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey, Dave, 2 questions for you. The first one, this is your second go around getting a head coach here at Arizona. Are you taking any different approaches this time around as opposed to the first hire, changing any way you interview candidates or go about finding a head coach?
Well, it's harder to travel. That's the first thing for sure. So it's a lot more Zoom activity right now. Anyways, no, I think, again, each situation, when you make a change, you have to step back and evaluate what are the most current issues that need to be dealt with. That helps to kind of identify the type of skill sets and the structure that you need. I think in this case right now, again, we have to step back and look at the strength of this program, the strengths of these programs. What has brought us success in the past. The past doesn't define everything, but I think being true to some of those principles will help us going forward. There's not one skill set of, hey, perfect defensive coordinator, perfect offensive coordinator, great recruiter. You have to have a little bit of all of that, or you have to have a program to surround yourself with people that can bring all of that together. But passion, connection, love for your players, love for this program, being in it for the right reason, for the meaningful experiences with those young men who are in our program. This is college athletics. This is a big time in their lives. And the best programs have that connectiveness. They have that culture. They have that togetherness, that respect for the program. And that I believe that builds winning programs. And so that's, I guess, the focus this time. That could have been different in the past or with different circumstances.
And then it was obviously a tough year in terms of wins and losses. Do you have to be more patient with this rebuild? Maybe give it a 4 to 5 year plan? Kind of what's the timeline in your mind for maybe Arizona having a winning record or getting you back to a bowl game with the next head coach?
Look, we're invested into doing it the right way and building the program. I think it's about, the steps, the vision, that's what needs to be prioritized. And maybe that can happen faster. Maybe it takes a little longer, but let's be focused on the outcomes, on that process. We believe in it. We believe in what the things are that we have to do across the board, multiple things that have to be integrated to have a successful program. Stay true to that process and that plan, and we'll get there. Sure, we all hope it happens fast, but we're not going to sacrifice time, and that won't allow for a longer term success of the program. Got to be patient. It's a different day and age with, again, transfer portal, the movement of players, the one-time transfer rule coming on board, the desire by, again, I think people wanting to get re-recruited. So it's a different approach, but we need to think about all of those things going forward as well. So yeah, patience is a hard thing to have in this day and age, but I do think it will take some time. We've got to be committed to that time. But as with this situation, we couldn't not do it, but we need to be on a better track that we can believe in long term.
Thank you.
Kirsten with 12 News Phoenix, you are next.
Hi, Dave. With players transferring out, with players decommitting from the program, wondering if you have a message for the ones that are deciding to kind of ride out the storm and stick with this coaching change, or maybe even some of the players who might be questioning what their next move might be.
Yeah, I'm proud of our players. This was a very unique year, a difficult year, not only from a competitive standpoint, but being this COVID year, lack of, shortness of games, all the commitment. I think it fatigued, college football around the country. It continues to fatigue it. I believe in our players. I will never blame the young men who are here in any way. We want people that want to be here, want to be Wildcats. We have something very special here in this program, and they're going to be proud to be part of it. And those who have stayed with us, I think they want to be here. I understand the nature of the game, the nature of this at this point in time. And it's not just here. It's everywhere across the country. The movement, the way people want to check things out. Again, we're going to get to the right point. And I believe all of those people will be excited about where we're going in the future and want to be part of this. We want the right people here and want the right people on the bus. I believe in every one of them, and we're committed to them if they want to be here.
And we'll wrap up here against the clock with the last one will be to Rich Herrera, 1290 Wildcats Radio.
Good morning, Dave. Two real quick questions. As you're out there looking for the next head coach, obviously the competition for these type of candidates is high. What's your elevator pitch? What's your features and benefits that you stress when talking to these potential candidates?
Well, hey, I don't know. I love the passion of this place. We need to start there. We need to have someone who's passionate about this job, because there are great bones here at U of A. We've improved the overall assets around our football program. The facilities, the Lowell Stevens Center, the Davis Indoor Sports Center, our outdoor practice facility, the commitment to our football program with staffing, size, and the commitment to compensation to be very, very competitive, that needed, quite frankly, to be addressed. Those are things that we have in place here that make this a very, very attractive job. And I hear that from the people that I'm talking to around the country. When people come in and out of Tucson now, they are really wowed by what we have. And there is the structure there to be successful going forward for a very highly competitive football program. Plus, we've got great people here, got passionate fans. It's a tremendous market. We have a lot of, it's a large enough market, but it's a great college town. It's a great place to come to school. For young people, you can recruit here. They leave with positive experiences. We have a passionate alumni base, obviously. We have great media coverage that really highlight our programs. Those are all incredibly positive aspects of this. This can be a winning program. I also think it's a tough program. It's a program built on toughness. And that appeals to people.
And then finally, we talk about recruiting a little bit. How important, I know that's a holistic approach, but when you're talking with these candidates, how are you stressing the importance of recruiting? Because this is a unique place that you got to protect Arizona, go into California and find Texas. How are you communicating that as far as how much emphasis you need them to put on that to make sure that you get the student athletes in here?
Hey, recruiting is the lifeblood of programs. We need a head coach and a body of assistant coaches who are relentless recruiters. They do it the right way. They can share the passion. They can share the greatness of this place, the opportunity to come here and go to school, have a world-class education. But recruiting is the lifeblood. They must be relentless in recruiting. We must have a great plan recruiting. Our footprint, our connections. We start in the state of Arizona, the relationships we have. And really that's what recruiting is about, is the passion, the relentlessness, and the relationships. That's what recruiting is. And that's important, and that will be the future and the lifeblood of the program going forward.
Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you.